During the past week, I think I discovered the secret command for spiritual attainment. 2 words. Sit, stay. That's all I have to say. But I will elaborate. Mostly, those humans who have evolved at all, past reptilian brain, who have moved into mammalian brain, are still totally untrained. Reptilian brain is pretty untrainable. Try to teach a lizard to stop, sit, stay. Try. In fact, there are very few mammals who could pull it off. But there are some who are fairly good at it, if they're having good masters who know how to do the training. But most of us, as people, think we're already there. We're already highly evolved and disciplined and way beyond animal. But it's not true. I find that most people's minds are kind of maybe a tiny bit more evolved than a dog. And maybe not even as evolved as a dog. And I will tell you, seriously, that the thing you need to train yourself, because nobody else will do it, is to every so often, especially when you find yourself flying off into whatever strange landscapes you go to, fear, passion, drive, insanity, depression, confusion, all of the things that we have as human beings, doubt, misery. You have to go, stop, sit, and stay. I've added stop. And the reason I say stop is because mostly we are in a kind of motion, especially our minds. They are in constant motion, it appears, unless you get to kind of distract them with a TV show or a movie or a book or a newspaper or the radio or something, music. Unless you can distract your mind, it's constantly looking for some place to alight, to sit down, to relax, but it never knows where to go to do that. And so the trick is do it wherever you are. Sit. And I mean sit. Sit down. Sit down. Stop what you're doing. Wherever you are, pull yourself in. And I'm not just meaning it in a descriptive way, I'm meaning it in a literal way. Actually, wherever you find yourself, going through your craziness, get a chair, find the ground, sit. It's unbelievably powerful. Because you really take command. You really do assert control over this insanity that is dominating you. And then the word stay. The reason you have to do stay Watch anybody with a dog. You can get it to sit. Sit, sit. And the minute you kind of relax that, they're up again. Then you go sit again, and you go sit again. And if you don't say stay, the dog immediately wants to go back to its old patterning. Stay is really important, because when you tell yourself to stay, you will find, like any dog, that the temptation to move out of your position is enormous. And great training with dogs provides them with stimulus and reason to move. A bowl of food, a treat, something that they could have and really want, and you tell them, stay, stay, stay. And why do you do that? Because it exerts control. It exerts control. It's not enough to just say stop, because that's kind of easy and it's very temporary. Stay develops this ability to hold back from what you want, to hold back from what you desire, and absolutely exert some kind of internal structure that denies yourself immediate satisfaction. The ability to do that to yourself is essential. Because if you can't do that to yourself, you will always get yourself in trouble. Always. You will find yourself far afield in your own mind. You'll find yourself in places of constant disturbance or distraction, maybe just distraction. But whatever it is, you're not present. You're so elsewhere. You're so involved in stuff that you don't become aware of this moment. No one else is going to do this for you. Nobody. If your parents haven't ingrained it in you, and most parents haven't, you have to figure it out. How are you going to do that? How will you do it? How do you get to a place of real self-control? Most people have to experience the consequence of lack of control. Whatever that is. There are so many different variables of that in human experience. You know, there can be activities. We drink too much, we play too much, we fantasize too much. There's a million things we do that keep us from being present. A lot of these get us in trouble. A lot of stuff gets us in trouble. And that trouble compounds itself because trouble begets trouble. And so we keep finding ourselves adrift, lost, confused, looking for help, not knowing where it is, not seeing it when it's available. And we live lives of great upheaval and distraction and disturbance and unhappiness. And I see it all the time, more and more and more as I grow up. And I've taken to walking a lot. I've been doing a lot of walking, and I was walking every day in the streets of Lancaster, where I've been working every week. I go back 3 days a week, and will be for a month. And I'm walking down these streets, which are really quite amazing, because there's an incredibly historical downtown, and then as soon as you get about 8 blocks past it, you get into very depressed areas. And in every direction, because I've walked in every direction. And you see homes foreclosed. You see a kind of look in people's eyes that is hard to take. It's kind of despairing. It's lost. It's not knowing where to go. It's not knowing what to do. It's very powerful and very potent for somebody whose barriers and what do you want to call them, filters are gone. So I walk down the street just absorbing all of this extraordinary, complicated sadness and energy and depression and confusion. And I keep looking in these people's eyes, and all I want to do is present them with stay, sit, stop, in any order. Just be present for a moment. Be present. I'll tell you why. When a dog sits and you say stay, and you keep saying stay to keep it from moving, it evolves something which is really compelling. I'm going to call it trust. Trust in the giving over of control to something, in the case of a dog, the master. And that dog feels like it knows what it is and who it is because of trust. We human beings are loath to give trust to anyone, fully. We try, but it's hard. But if you really sit and you stay and you don't run to the first desire, the first thing that compels you, if you just sit, something happens. And I know I talk about this a lot, and some people believe me, and some people, I think, maybe haven't yet discovered it. But when you just sit and stay, this thing in you reveals itself. This welcoming presence. Welcoming presence. It takes you in. It assures you. It basically says, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm taking you in. You are sheltered from the cold. You are loved. You are worthy. All of that stuff, it just takes you in. And you just feel, aha. It's renewing, it's refreshing, it's reviving. And then you can go back, chase your desires, run around, do what you want, but you know at any given moment you can stop, sit, stay, and find it. It's such a gift. And like I say, the reptilian mind will not respond to this. And a lot of the human mind, which is for many people, unfortunately, still in many ways reptilian, does not respond. And so I watch these people walking down the street. I watch them actually sitting on the street corner, but they are so distracted or drugged. I can look into people's eyes and I see the drug. They are not there. It's so hard. It's so hard because all I want to do is hug them. But you know, if I even begin to approach that, the complications of that are so great. Trying to hug somebody just because they're on the street doesn't work with human beings so much. On rare occasions. I've often told this story when I was a kid it was in Nepal, walking through a very, very big field, and there were 3 guys coming at me from the other end, and I'm on a path, and it's just me and them, and we're coming together, and we're coming together, and we're coming together, and I don't know who they are, or anything about them at all, and we stopped right in front of each other, and we just stood there, and then all of a sudden, we just hugged. The 4 of us hugged. Never said a word, and kept walking. That was the one time in my entire life where that happened. You can't do that elsewhere. I had a moment in Lancaster walking down the street, and I saw ahead of me what looked like a mother, a little boy, and a man not dressed for the weather. The man was kneeling at the feet of his wife and the little boy sitting on some steps. And I knew something was going on. I could not tell you what was going on. But I could feel the pain of it from a half a block away. And it was already, my heart was just aching. And I got right up upon them, and I looked at the face of this little boy who was the most angelic little boy ever. And he looked at me kind of, not directly, because he was clearly far away, and I could tell his father or the man, whoever he was with him, was in a basically saying, I'm sorry that I have to leave you. I'm sorry that this is happening. Whatever it was, and I looked up at the sign, and it was a place for family shelter, because it was a place that took people in during terrible transition. And that moment was happening, and this little boy's face was being impacted by reality in a way that you don't want children to know, but so many children do know. And I looked in his face, and my heart just broke. And I didn't know what to do, because there was nothing appropriate to do. So I just kept walking. And the further I walked, the worse I felt. It's like I couldn't bear the suffering of this little boy, or the father, or the mother. I couldn't bear it. And so I turned around and started walking back, because I was going to give them all the money in my pocket. I just wanted to give them whatever I had to take care of their need. And this is like one family out of millions. And I get back there, and they're not there. And so I go inside the shelter, and I go to the people in the shelter, and they said, well, can we help you? And I said, there was a family outside. And I talked about the little boy and the mother and the father. They said, there are lots of families here. And they had no idea who I was talking about. No idea. And I felt terrible, because I so wanted to insert myself into that moment and help. And I couldn't. And I felt what can I do to help? What can I do to help? There are hundreds of millions and maybe billions of families like that. And yes, we can try to give and do and help in the moment, but mostly you have to help and give out of your capacity to help and give. What is that? Well, my one gift is I have a big heart, and I can articulate. The one thing I can give is the information or the words that I impart, along with a big hug. And the words that came to me as I was on that trip last week and watching people walking by, and I sat in the airport, this is really what happened. I just sat down, because I had 2 hours between planes, and I just watched everybody go by. And I just watched how not present they were, how they were caught in the movement of the airport, how they were dominated by stuff. And you could look in their eyes, and I could feel their history, their sadness, their compulsion, their happiness, their whatever it was that was going on. I just felt all of it. But mostly they weren't present. And what came to me is what I've said to you this morning. Sit. Stay. Every one of them, if they could have one brief piece of information that would be of help, sit, stay. Feel this thing, this connectivity. Feel this connectivity to yourself, and then bring that to the table. Bring it to the table. Bring it to your life. Bring it to the people around you. One thing I saw in that little boy's eyes as I walked by him was the entire life ahead. I saw how shaping this moment was, how hard it was going to be for him to miss his father, if that's what was happening, to have to be out of a home that he clearly had lived in, not clearly, but in my mind had lived in, that he was going to have to incorporate all of this adult information as a child. And what I understood was that he is all of us. We all are on that journey. Every one of us is finding out somewhere along the way, when we're 2 years old, when we're 20 years old, wherever you are, what this world is. That it is hard, that it is not what we dreamt it would be, that it is demanding, that it is an adventure, if you will, and a hard adventure, and a struggle, and it's full of opposition, and it's full of drama. It's all of that stuff, and we get hardened to it. We try to find ways not to face it. We do all of these things in ourselves. I saw the moment where that boy's life took form. I could have given the money. It would not have ultimately made a lot of difference, really, because something was happening that was essential to him. Essential. And has been essential to us. We too have been burdened, if you will, by life circumstance and life events, and we have experienced the pain of that, and we have experienced the drama and the loss and the fear and the confusion and the distraction. How do we get out of that mix? How do we get out of it? Again, I could have given them money. It would have only lessened in a tiny little way the impact. You can all go out and earn money. You can all go out and make money. I'm telling you, it will only moderately reduce the impact. The answer is not money. The answer is not external circumstance which will somehow or another modulate and moderate the suffering. But it's only partial. Ultimately, humanity, life, as Buddha told us, is suffering. It's obstacles to our happiness. Externally, life is hard. And what's the answer to that? Sit. Sit. Stay. Sit. Meditate. Be present. Stay. Don't jump up. Don't run away. Don't think you can avoid this. Don't think that you can slip back into unconsciousness. That's not the answer. Sit. Stay. Watch what happens. That's the whole teaching. Watch what happens. See this thing inside you that will ultimately take care of you. I have a feeling that little boy has found something within him, because I understand the universe, God, creation, something, whatever that is, I believe, I feel, I will even say I know, loves us. It loves us. It cares about us. It sets us off on this amazing journey we call life, which is who knows what it is, but it is an expression, ultimately, take it for as my word, it's for love. And it's not to discover love in the world, it's to bring love to the world. You are the love. That love is within you. All you have to do is sit, stay. There it is. That ocean of love is you. Your job, bring it forward. Bring it out. Share it. Share it with yourself. Share it with everyone around you. Let it ripple out. Be that love. You will not find that love outside, yet we all look for it outside. And you get reflections of it outside. You get moments outside that make you aware of the love within you. But the love is all within. Find it. Find it. Sit. Stay. So important. It's so important. And we know we want everyone else to give it to us. We want the easy way out. We want not to have to train ourselves. We don't want to have to find the skill set. We don't want to have to find the muscle system. We don't want to work. Most people don't want to work. I don't know why. But work is the answer. Because it gives this strength to you, this capacity to you, this ability to actually be that trained animalistic mind that can be controlled by a simple command. Sit. Stay. That's all it takes. All it takes. And if you can give it to yourself, because who else is going to do it? Give it to yourself. And who is giving it to you? Who is making that command? Where is that voice coming from? That would be a great teaching, just to find that. Because it also rises up with that love. It rises up and it takes charge and it says, sit, stay, really quiet, really still. And it's such a gift. And I looked at so many of these people walking down the streets of Lancaster, and I'm going, wow, the journey they have to take just to hear. The journey that they have to undertake so that that simple command can get through is extraordinary. Extraordinary. I don't know where they will get the clarity. I don't know where they will get the momentum, where they will get the signal to listen. Because there's already so much distraction, so much woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. And how do you undermine that? Well, I mean, I'll tell you what the world does. It creates art, music, literature, movies, television. It creates messages, and it puts them out there, puts them in the void, and it just keeps sending them out. Any TV show you watch, trust me, every show, everything you watch, every piece of music is speaking to these longings. Everything is speaking to it. Everything is instructing. Everything is trying to get through to you from the outside, which is great. It's great. But ultimately, it's all trying to push you into this place inside where the source of all those messages comes from. That's what we're looking for. That's the place. The world is speaking to us constantly. Religion is talking to us. Church, synagogue, mosque is talking to you. Do people misunderstand? Do they miss hearing it at all? Absolutely. Absolutely. They miss it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And what can you do about that? Well, do your part. Do your part. Train your animal, train your mind to sit, stay. And you will find that out of that comes this example, if you will, of how to be. This love, compassion, care, friendship, love that you can bring to other people, and you only need to bring it to the circle around you. You can expand it beyond that circle if you want to or can, but mostly just the circle around you. Love the person sitting across from you, or lying next to you, or walking around you. Love what is. Love, love, love. I sat in that airport the other day, and it was just love. And everyone who went by, yes, I could be analytical, yes, I could see the problem, yes, I could experience their suffering. What was my response? Love, love. And truly, I would have hugged everybody. And in a way, I did. But whether it's physical, emotional, psychic, whatever it is, do what you can do. Do what you can do. Put it out there. Live the life of a conscious, trained animal. You know, that dog that's disciplined, do you know what it wants to do? It wants to come lie in your lap. It wants to come up and nudge you. Why? Because you helped it control its wildness. You helped it control its deep disturbances. You brought it into focus. You brought it into control. And it's so grateful because it wants to be controlled. It wants it. So does your mind. You want that freedom to be able to say no to all the distraction and yes to what's inside. There's no greater gift. Sitting still, staying in that space, finding the doorway or I call it the portal into the infinite realm of being, right inside your heart. That is the greatest gift ever. And nobody can give it to you, and nobody can train you but you. So that's my class. 3 words. Stop, sit, stay. Any questions? Okay.